the DNA code is nobody wrote that code. We've been working on a top secret science project here. It's claimed by many that William Shakespeare, Billy Wigglestick, you know, Wigglestick, Shakespeare, never mind, okay, lived from the 1560 to 1616. And he wrote 39 plays and 154 sonnets, such as Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth. Due to our limited research funding, while we wait for our government grants to be approved, we will only examine the claim that Romeo and Juliet and (777) Shakespeare, Agency, Federal Bureau of Materialistic Explanations. Title: Spontaneous Textual Generation Initiative, STGI. Evidence for non-authorial literature. Nobody wrote it. No author. Principal investigator, Dr. Common Sense Kent. Joseph, you wrote this, didn't you? Funding request, $42,500,000 per quarter. Yeah. Executive summary. Let's blow this up a little bit here. For too long, the educational system has been held captive by the authorist dogma, the unscientific belief that a person named Billy Wigglestick actually wrote the plays attributed to him. In light of modern evolutionary biology, which correctly identifies the complex digital codes, DNA, arise via magic of time and chance, we propose to apply these same rigorous standards to 17th century literature. This project aims to prove that Macbeth is merely an emergent property of ink molecule affinities and paper fiber selection. Nobody wrote that book. We will prove that this William Shakespeare never existed, and nobody wrote Romeo and Juliet or Macbeth. This is our science experiment we're starting. Romeo, Juliet, they took him to the restaurant, and Romeo'd what Juliet, I think, is how I got the name or something. Let's see, Shakespeare, no fear. It is claimed that this guy lived 1564, so there are no living eyewitnesses that can testify he lived. All the so-called evidence is anecdotal and inadmissible in a court of law. It cannot be proven that he lived. I will produce my scientific evidence that the ink, the paper, and the code, they call it alphabet, can all be explained by natural processes. There's no need to appeal to a higher power or an author to produce these plays. First evidence, ink is a naturally occurring substance. There's no need to appeal to a higher power or God to produce ink. Several animals produce ink-like fluids, primarily as a defense mechanism. Cephalopods, octopus, etc., are the most well-known producers of ink. They release a dark fluid from an ink sac, primarily composed of melanin, mucus, and other chemicals. Many plants can produce an ink-like fluid when their pigments are extracted. Common sources include flowers. They can produce ink. Leaves and stems, fruits and berries, roots and bark. Other materials, avocado pits, onion skins, purple cabbage, turmeric, walnut husks can make ink. These plants yield pigments that can be extracted using water, heat, or fermentation to create natural inks. My second evidence, paper is also made of naturally occurring substances. There's no need to appeal to a higher power or a God to produce paper. A vast number of plants can produce a paper-like substance, as nearly all plants contain cellulose fibers suitable for paper making. While wood, especially softwoods like pine and hardwood, is the dominant source globally, many other plants have been used historically and are still used today. Key plants used for paper production include grass and herbaceous plants, cattail, bamboo, sugarcane. Look at that. Based fiber plants, hemp, flax, etc. Banana stems, who'd have thunk it, can be used for paper. Hosta, iris, daylily leaves. While these materials are processed into pulp through mechanical or chemical methods to create paper. While wood remains the primary source, over 100 plant species have been used commercially or experimentally for paper making. Paper being made from rice. These natural forces, there are natural forces like wind and tides that could stir the fibers and flatten them into sheets. There's no need for any intelligent design or deity. Nobody can see, we can't see this deity you guys claim. you can still make paper from rice. My third evidence, all the things claimed to have been written by this non-existent Shakespeare use the very same 26 shapes of ink on paper. Some call this the alphabet. There's no need to appeal to a higher power or a god to produce these 26 shapes. This is the supposed code. Both Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth contain this code. We checked it out. Every line made from those letters. A trained scientific mind will quickly see that all these shapes, some call letters, fall easily into three simple categories. Shapes made from straight lines only. A, E, F, H, I, K, L, M, N, let's see, T, V, W, X, Y, all straight lines. These 15 shapes are easily explained as naturally occurring. Molecules, amino acids, form in straight lines sometimes. A trained scientific mind will quickly see that molecules and, I misspelled it, polypeptides naturally occur in straight lines. Other naturally occur in straight lines joined at angles, like the supposed letters. Atoms can join together to form molecules through several primary mechanisms driven by the need to achieve greater stability, typically by filling their outer electron shells. Ionic bonding, covalent bonding, metallic bonding, intermolecular forces have been studied and well understood for years. A wide variety of patterns formed by these purely naturalistic processes. There's no need to invoke some invisible sky daddy to make the patterns we see for the straight letters. Shapes made with curved lines only. These three shapes, C, O, and S, are easily explained as naturally occurring. It's long been observed that some atoms join in ring patterns or curves. So these three simple letters are not evidence of some intelligent designer. Shapes making a combination of lines and straight and curves. These 8 shapes are easily explained as naturally occurring as well. You got some straight, some curved in there. This one, all these letters. Look at that. Straight, part of it straight, part of it curved. A trained scientific mind will know that all 3 types of shapes these ignorant creationists have all been found in nature and created in the laboratory. It's not rocket science. Methodology, the molecular alphabet. To demonstrate that nobody wrote Shakespeare, we must ignore the information and focus on the geometry of the characters. Atomic reductionism. Straight line, purely linear molecules. Curved, circular, or orbital structures. Complex hybrid bonds, found in these letters. Okay, RJ did a great job here. They compared the first 190 words from both documents, Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth, by comparing just the first 190 words. We haven't done the whole book yet. We ran out of funding. We've got to get that government grant in quick, okay? Let's see. Romeo and Juliet uses the letter A 58 times. Macbeth uses it 64 times. Pretty close. Use the letter B only 10 times in the first 190 words, and Macbeth only 13. C, pretty close similarity. D, E, you can go through all of them. F, G, H. The similarity of how many times they're used are very, I think it's telling. I, look at that, J. Neither one used a J for 190 words. That's proof nobody wrote them. Somebody would have used a J. Gee, they claim to be from England. K, L, look at the similarity there. Wow. M, N, O, P, Q, R. The similarities are stunning, folks. This is proof nobody wrote either one of those books. Anybody can see that. Look at that. Nobody used a Z either. What's wrong with these? See, can't you guys see? Nobody wrote it. You even did a chart, RJ. The similarity, the correlation of these two shapes. The blue line is the Romeo and Juliet for the letters A, B, C, D. The red line is Macbeth. They claim it was written by Shakespeare. It's clear evidence these shapes appear by natural selection and nothing else. See, modern evolutionary theory views DNA as a spontaneous chemical product. By focusing solely on the physics of the medium, the message is ignored. We apply this to Shakespeare, we can prove nobody wrote Macbeth by reducing his play to mere geometric shapes, ignoring the information they convey. The alphabet of life. In biology, the letters A, C, T, G, and in literature, there are 26 letters of the English alphabet. The ink, or the molecules, is the matter, the structure, the shape of the bond, the code, the arrangement of information. Matter does not create the code, The code uses matter as a carrier. Spontaneous ink fallacy. Why satire works. Hovind's satire mocks the idea that complexity arises from the bottom up. If Macbeth is just ink, then life is just chemicals. Ink properties explain the smudge, not the sonnet. Molecular properties explain the bond, not the blueprint. There's no known law in nature, no known process, and no known sequence of events which can cause information to originate by itself in matter. Does just arranging molecules? No, ink on paper is more than that in a book, guys. It's carrying information. Yeah. Authorist trauma recovery. You started a GoFundMe. No, GoFund no one. We're trying to raise $1 million. We raised $14 so far. Who got that, Joseph? RJ, did you get the $14? There you go. Authorist trauma. Friends, I'm reaching out today because I'm finally breaking my silence. Growing up, I was indoctrinated into the harmful authorist worldview. My teachers, even my own parents, told me Macbeth was written by a man named Shakespeare. They told me there was an intent behind the words. They told me the plot was designed. What? Do you have any idea what that does to a child's psyche? To believe that you are reading a code that was written. I spent years trying to figure out what the witches represented. Here, see if you can figure it out. Macbeth. First witch. When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain? Second witch. When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won. Third witch. That will be ere the set of sun. First witch. Where the place? Second witch. Upon the hearth. Third witch. There to meet with Macbeth. First witch. I come, Grey Malkin. Does that make any sense to anybody? It's just ink on paper. That's all it is. So, evolutionists, look at me. DNA is not just an arrangement of molecules. It's carrying information. I know you don't want to believe that because that would mean somebody wrote the code. You don't like that guy, do you? Too bad. He's going to be your judge. I want to be nice to him. Okay, Joseph, questions or comments? This experiment is going to continue for years. As soon as we get the 42,500,000? Okay, we'll send in for government grant.